Welcome to your chordal guitar lesson of the week, the video series where we prove that you can be a master of guitar chords too. And today I'm going to show you a popular chord progression, and we are going to squeeze a chord between two chords to make a tasty sandwich between those two chords there, right? It's going to add an extra color that is super interesting, and I'm going to give you many examples from music that maybe you probably know. So the popular chord progression I'm talking about is the Andalusian Cadence. This is a big name, but all it is, it's just the progression from Hit the Road Jack, right? You all know this one. So basically what this Andalusian cadence is, it's just in a minor scale. So in our case here, we are in A major. So we play the root chord in minor, then the flat 7th chord, the flat 6th, and then a dominant chord on the 5th one. Because usually in a minor scale, the 5th chord is minor. But in our case, we are playing a major chord or a dominant 7 chord. This is exactly what I explained in my lesson about a cool chord to use in any minor scale. You can watch the whole lesson if you want to learn more about it. But basically, this is the progression. So we are going to squeeze one particular chord between two of them here, and it's going to be between the flat 7th and the flat 6th. We are going to add this chord in the middle. It sounds surprising at first, but it's really effective. So now, if I add this F sharp minor chord in the middle of my G and my F, this is going to sound like this. I'm sure you already heard this sound before. This is in many songs, right? So why it works so well is because the third interval of this chord that we added, this chord is basically the natural 6th, because this one is the flat 6th, because we are in a minor scale, so the 6th is flat. So we add the 6th chord from the major harmonization instead. So this is the natural 6th chord. So the third of this chord, which is a minor third, happens to be the same note than our flat 6th chord. So that's when it sounds so smooth, because it sounds like this. So they share exactly the same third. So it makes for a smooth voice leading, and also it does that the bass line is very chromatic, so it's always a great idea to have a chromatic bass line because it sounds so good. So I'm gonna show you many examples in music that maybe you probably already know of how this is applied. So any Styx fan here? Sweet Madam Blue, it's exactly this principle here. So this is exactly the same principle here. So we are in the key of B minor. So we have the root chord. This should be a flat 7th, but it's just the root chord with a bass of A instead. But it's still a great chord. And then this shape, it's our natural 6th, right? Because this note doesn't belong to a B minor scale. We do not have any A flats or G sharp in a B minor scale. So this chord is added, and then the rest of our Andalusian cadence. So sometimes it doesn't matter if you know exactly the chord shapes you are doing, because the the Andalusian cadence with the chord that we add in the middle helps us find new chord shapes. So in our case, the goal is just to descend chromatically. So even if I don't play this chord like this here, I can keep some of my fingers on the fretboard and try to move as less as possible so that the voice leading is smooth. Each note moves as less as possible. It works so well in this context. You know, when I play all the chords fast, they all sound like the same, right? Because it's all the same cluster of notes in the same area. It's not the same as just changing the chords. But you could change the chords entirely, like the Green Day song. I don't know if you are or were a fan of Green Day. When I was a teenager, we would go camping with my family, and all I would do is to bring my Walkman with my Green Day CDs and lie down on the car and listen to my Green Day CDs on my Walkman. And then my parents would told me that I should go more outside and I should go more at the beach, but I was just listening to my Green Day CDs all weekend in the car. Okay, anecdote over. But the song Brain Stew from Green Day is the perfect example, right? It's like ba-na, 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 ba-na. It couldn't be more clear, right? It couldn't be clearer than that. It's just power chords. So we have the root, we have the flat 7th, we have our natural 6, flat 6, and 5. Any fans of Led Zeppelin? I have so many songs that come to mind now that I play them. Led Zeppelin, right? Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You from Led Zeppelin. It's exactly the same thing. Key of A minor. Then the flat 7th. Then this could be considered a natural 6th, followed by the flat 6 and the 5 major. But in this case, we could view it as a D major with a bass of F sharp. So in fact, in this case, with the Led Zeppelin song, it's the root chord, the 7, with a sus4, and then the major 4th chord with the bass here, and then flat 6 and 5th dominant chord. So in this case, as long as the bass stays chromatic, it's kind of going to have the same function. So in this case, we have a beautiful major 4 chord instead of a plain minor chord on the 6th degree. The major 4th is so beautiful to play. I also have a full lesson on it. This is really worth watching. So, babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, same thing. So you see so many examples in the repertoire of pop and rock music when we see this chord being squeezed between an Andalusian cadence. So what you could do, so these examples are very, very clear, right? You couldn't be more clearer than playing exactly like this, but you don't have to do it like this. You could play this cadence only on the bridge of your song, or you could play inversions of your chords, so it's not as obvious as it was on the songs that I showed you. But nonetheless, it's just another trick up your sleeve, another color that you can add in your songs. You're not even, it's not mandatory to play exactly the chords in this order here. You could just keep the principle that you could add a natural 6th chord in a minor key just to have a different color. It's always really good. So what I could do for ambient guitar, it's just to put on some reverb and play some chord shapes and incorporate that natural 6th chord, something like this. So all I've done here is to play my regular ambient guitar chords, the most popular chords for ambient guitar, and I just squeezed that natural 6 here with the open strings that was beautiful in the key of D minor. So if you don't know how to play these chord shapes of the most popular ambient guitar chords, you can take my free mini course. It's the first link in the description box. I show you those chord shapes and all different functions of those chords, and then I show you how to harmonize them so you could know exactly which shapes to play and where to recreate that Andalusian cadence for yourself. So take my free mini course, first link in the description box. It's free, so take it. So thank you so much for watching. As always, really grateful to have you as a viewer and to have you watching my lessons here. Want to give back as much as I can. So have a nice day, and until next time, au revoir.